The few times that I actually go and use the dryer, I make sure that I pull out the lint filter and that I clean it off. But have you ever looked inside? Like inside past the lint filter. Look at that. There's crud there. It's really ugly looking stuff. Well, we need to get that out of there. So today we're going to take a look at how to do that. This is an LG dryer and it has 2 screws in the front and there are a total of 4 in the back that need to be removed in order for us to clean this thing out. 2 at the bottom and 1 on each wing of the plastic frame. There's a moisture sensor, so be careful with that. You don't want to scratch it. So first thing we're going to do is grab a Phillips screwdriver and take off the 2 front screws. They're not in tight, so they're easy to remove. And just make sure to note the size of the screw, because they're different from front and back. With the 2 front screws removed, we now turn our attention to the back side of the unit. So I start on the bottom. Nice thing is, if they fall, they don't go very far. Once all the screws are out, just simply pull back, the plastic releases. It should release. There's 1 screw that's a little caught up here at the bottom, but that's going to release in a moment. So we release the top one and everything comes out. The little screw drops out. Didn't go anywhere. Retrieve that. You notice the screws, different sizes. So again, note where they came from because you have to put them back. So now with the unit disassembled, we can see further inside and boy, is that dirty. So that's lint. That's the stuff that shreds off your clothing while it's being dried. Some of it you can actually remove with your fingers. But why do we want to take this stuff out? The U.S. Fire Administration has estimated that 2,300 fires in residential buildings are caused by dryers every year. The leading cause of the fires was a failure to clean out those dryers. We're not going to become a statistic. So we fire up the vacuum cleaner, put a small nozzle on it, and the first thing I like to do is work on the exterior, get that all cleaned up. Sorry for the poor camera work, it's kind of hard to do this. Now if you look inside, you see I'm having a tough time with this nozzle because while it's small, it's kind of big for the space that we're trying to work in. But you know, be patient, be persistent, and just slowly work it until you can get as much of this lint out of there. And some of it you'll have to wipe off by hand, but the bulk of it you should be able to vacuum out. Once we're done vacuuming, and we've also vacuumed the exterior plastic part, by the way, we look inside and see how clean that is. Now, I did take a damp towel and I did just kind of do a final wipe on that to make sure it's nice and clean. But it looks gorgeous, right? So now we're going to rebuild everything. So you see the bottom guide there? That just butts up against the other one. And everything should line up. And then you're perfectly set, right? You're good to go. You go over and grab a screw. Wait a minute. The flap is up. Did you see that? Here it is. Look. Okay, take 2. Make sure you clean the exterior grate, right? So once that's cleaned, you're going to make sure that the moisture sensor hasn't been disconnected. And then you're going to look at the bottom tab where they line up. And that's your guide for mounting everything. And before we press it all together, we make sure that the flap is down. Then we catch. And you see the flap is working. So we press up everything, make sure those 2 are lined. We're going to add 2 screws there, 1 on each wing, and then of course the 2 screws in the front. Choosing the correct screw size, we go to the back of the unit, and I like starting with the screw that's closest to the moisture sensor because that's a plastic part that's closest to the washer. I attach that first, then the other ones. Finally, once all the screws are in, we make sure the flap is working correctly. Make sure no screws are protruding. Make sure the plastic is all aligned and smooth. That lets us know that all the screws are in at the right tension. And now all we have to do is drop in the filter. Now I can close the door and start drying this load. And I'm good to go. So thank you very much for watching this video. What's going on? Oh, yes, I forgot. Go outside to the dryer vent and make sure you get all the lint off of that, because that can build up, and we forget about that because it's on the outside. You may need a brush. They sell those at your local hardware store. You can get one if you have a long way to go. In my case, it's very short, so I can just get my hands in there. Be careful because it could get hot. In my case, it's low temperature setting, so I'm okay with putting my fingers in there. If you found this video useful, give us a thumbs up, give us a comment, subscribe. That's really important. I'm trying to get to 1,000, but thank you so very much, at least for watching the videos, and I really appreciate you guys. Thank you again.